I'm the Public and Stakeholder Engagement Lead for ExxonMobil Pipeline Company for Louisiana and Mississippi. We have been pleased to work with this department over the past many decades as a responsible operator here in Louisiana. In fact, we look forward to any extensions of this particular project that may come as a result of future well activity in this region. We look forward to working with you to extend that safety record. As you know, we are covered by Part 191 and Part 195 of federal regulations that mandate many, many things on pipeline operators, including public awareness and including public safety. And that is one of the reasons why our company has invested so heavily in firefighter training that includes the only CO2 pipeline training that exists in North America. And we have extended that opportunity before this project was even announced to the firefighters of not only Allen Parish, but in surrounding parishes as well. As Mr. Carr alluded to, we are pleased to actually begin to extend that training throughout Louisiana and Mississippi starting later this fall. Again, this is something that no other company that we know of is doing today, but we invite others to take advantage of this in other parishes as we begin this new journey here throughout southwestern Louisiana. I'd also like to add that, as you well know in the department, our company was recently this week awarded the API's Distinguished Pipeline Safety Award nationally. This was for the third consecutive year, and we are the only company that has ever won the award 3 years in a row. It's something that we are incredibly proud of, and it speaks specifically to the employees and the contractors that we employ, their work ethic, their training, and of course their dedication to making sure that every molecule makes it to its destination in proper fashion. In closing, let me just encourage you to liaise with us on the pipeline side through this permit activity. And if there's anything that we can do with regards to pipeline training, pipeline safety, and public safety, you can count on us to do it, just as we have been doing across Louisiana for the past many decades. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Lena Venable.
All right, our hometown girl.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Lana Venable. I am a consultant with ExxonMobil on this project. Having formerly worked with the company in Baton Rouge, where I live now, as I think I heard someone say in the back, I am a native of Allen Parish. I grew up here. I was raised right across the street from the high school, right down the road in Oberlin. For many years, I have been away. When I left and went to college, there were no opportunities for me to come back to for the kind of career that I wanted to pursue. So I see CCS as an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity for the parish, for future generations in the parish, to keep kids here and to provide them not just with jobs, but with careers that will give them long-term stability. So I just wanted to say that for the record this evening. I think that this is a good thing for the parish. We are at the beginning of the process. These are for 2 test wells. As that's also been said, there's a chance that the project may not locate here, depending on what the data and the science tell the folks that are looking at the data from the test wells. So I just respectfully ask for the ability to conduct the testing to determine if it's even feasible to do the storage here long term, and that we'll continue our engagement with the community from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Joseph Petrie. Josh Faulkner.
You know, there's no doubt that you guys know a whole lot more about the safety and of the carbon sequestration. There's no doubt about it. I could spend the next 2 weeks trying to study it, and you guys know a lot about it. And that is exactly why you guys have limited your liability at $250,000 and then $500,000. You've got yourself limited at $500,000 if someone dies because of your mistake. And that's just insulting, to be honest with you. It's insulting. I would love to see the risk assessment data that helped you calculate those figures, because I'm sure you have them. I'd like to know if the state has those. There's a way you came up with those numbers, and I think we as the people deserve to know how you came up with $500,000 if someone dies because of your mistake. And Mr. Carr, you know, you guys say that you want to hear our voice. Then my job shoot it down yesterday. You used your power and your influence to make sure that we didn't even have a voice. You want to hear our voice, but that you take it away. Not only did you take it away, you used your influence to take it away. And that's insulting. And for all you guys who keep coming up here and talking about jobs, like we don't have a television or the internet, or we weren't here Monday. Monday, the guy told us we were going to have 9 jobs. Woo, 9 jobs. Come on with it. Yesterday, we found out we're going to get 1, and y'all want to come up here and insult us? Like that's going to make a difference? That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker will be Brian Hanks.
Hello, my name is Brian Hanks, and I own Beta Land Services in Lafayette. I'm a past chairman of the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, current chairman of the University of Louisiana Board of Trustees from Lafayette. And I have worked in 39 states across the country, and we have had up to 500 landmen. I am also involved in another carbon project in Caldwell Parish, doing the work, and also as an investor. The reason for the Class 5 well, which no one's indicated to you, is that you have to drill the Class 5 wells to get the samples, to get the cores, so they can determine whether or not the Class X well is viable. So it is a step in the process. Just wanted to point that out. Another thing I want to point out, no one is paying me. The oil and gas field has been good for me. I've been in it 44 years. I'm doing this to protect the oil and gas industry, Louisiana, and to move it forward. So, what about us? Well, I've been, part of it, will tell you. I've been in the fear that I hear in everyone's voice is very similar to the fear I've heard in other states with the horizontal fracking and drilling, Marcellus, and now across the country, where people are completely scared. Very similar to this, concerned with their water, concerned with what's going to go on. I have literally watched communities be transformed from poverty to riches. So, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, and not everybody gets it, but it does.
Please let him go.
I'm pushing for approval of these wells for the benefit of the area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is James Hyatt.
Thank you. My name is James Hyatt. I am from Lake Charles. I don't live in Allen Parish, but I'm in solidarity with the folks in this room that want the power of the people to preside over the power of corporations. ExxonMobil. 1989, Exxon Valdez spilled oil, 11 million barrels of oil into a pristine environment. That wasn't supposed to happen. And ExxonMobil, out of the goodness of their hearts, fought those people for getting payment for 20 plus years. Yep. ExxonMobil in Baton Rouge hasn't paid taxes, hadn't paid because of the industrial tax exemption program, hasn't paid taxes to the amount that they're owed, that would fund teachers, that would fund the roads, that would fund the drainage, that would fund all the things. It is true. It's very true. They fought Together Louisiana. They fought everybody. The industry in this room is here because they want to continue the exploitation of these people. I have been at many Department of Energy and Natural Resources, many hearings. I've never seen the PR gentleman come out for a hearing. what usually happens is you take comments from the people who don't want the projects in their area, and then you write it off, and you don't actually make any technical comments or validate their concerns. These are 2 Class 5 wells that the only reason they're drilling them is to find out if they can do the Class 6. That's the bottom line. And they're doing it in 2 areas. And yesterday we saw at the State House, LSU brought out this beautiful, huge piece of thing that showed all the layers and all the protection around these 2 injection sites. As if that existed in a vacuum on an island, and that the pores and the layers didn't extend on far beyond that. The truth is, we don't know what's going to happen. They don't know. They keep telling us how safe it is. It's not safe. The Department of Natural Resources should work for the people. The permit writers should work for the people. There's some great, my sister works for the Department of Natural Resources. There's some good people in the agencies, but at the top, for whatever reason, has been bought by corporations. And we have seen time and time again, this is the first time people in Allen Parish might be experiencing this. This is not the first time the people of Louisiana have voiced their concerns over what's happening in the neighborhoods under the ground. We saw the current governor fight the EPA to try to stop Dinka from polluting an entire community with carcinogens. There was a remark about, this is not just going to be carbon. That's true. There's going to be H2S and some other waste. And I promise you, if Exxon was so good and such a great neighbor that they'd provide more information about what they already have that already exists, but they fight air monitoring every time they can. And they bribe communities by giving chump change. Fractions of pennies on the dollar of the taxes they actually owe for the property that they own. They don't care about you. They don't. And so for the permit writer, who's going to have to approve all this and go through this entire list of comments from the public, you could do the right thing. You could stop this stratigraphic let me get to the technical piece because I think that's important. None of us have actually said that. What are the alternative sites at this place, that these 2 sites, why did they decide on the sites that they are? Because they had relationships with the landowner, the large landowner already? One of these is close to a school, close to people's houses. What about the noise of this Class 5 well by itself? What about the vibrations in the people's homes? What about any of that? What is the protection for the people behind those things? Without the detailed hydrogeological studies, stronger groundwater protections, meaningful public input besides when you get done with the permit and now you're asking public to comment on this, you haven't engaged with the people. The state should pause approval, they should straight out deny approval until the updated science is gathered. LSU just started the CCS blah, blah, blah. Why are they starting it now? At the same time, there's a Class 6 well permit hearing in Cameron Parish next Monday. I hope to see you at that one too. It is beyond ridiculous to see a state completely co-opted, its agencies at the top, the DEQ, the DNR, all bought out by corporations from elsewhere that don't care about the people. We saw that yesterday. And I'll leave it with this. We all get this one life on this earth. My life is just as precious as yours. The people in Cancer Alley, the people in Cameron Parish, the people in Cowshire Parish. I used to work at a refinery for 10 years. My dad retired from a refinery. My grandfather retired from a pipeline company. Y'all could be much better neighbors. Y'all fight to keep the almighty dollar in your pocket over the lives and livelihoods of the people of Louisiana. We are not a sacrifice zone. And it's unfortunate that it takes one of these things coming into your backyard for you to understand what these politicians are really about.
Right.
You know, and I believe that the solidarity and the unity that is being brought up because of backroom good old boy deal system that does not look out for the people, it's going to go away because people are rising up and we've had enough. And I'll leave it with that. Enough is enough.
Thank you. Next speaker is Desiree Lemoyne.
Good evening. Thank you for your attention to this important issue about carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration. My name is Desiree Lemoyne, and I manage Industry Makes. Industry Makes is a 501c4 that was established to support industrial growth in Louisiana. I am from Louisiana, and I too have lived here all of my life. I'm here tonight to show support for the science of carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, or CCUS. Just a few facts about CO2 that I'm sure we already know, but I would like to clarify. CO2 is an essential element of life, as we have heard before, and is one of the most common gases in the atmosphere. It is used by Mother Nature to regulate the Earth's temperatures. CO2 is not flammable. It is not explosive. In fact, CO2 is used in fire extinguishers to relinquish fires. The basic idea of CCUS, capturing CO2 from the atmosphere, was first suggested in 1977 by using existing technology in a new way. CO2 capture technology has been used since the 1920s for separating CO2 found in natural gas reservoirs. The first carbon capture plant was proposed in 1938, and the first large-scale project to inject CO2 into the ground launched in Sharon Ridge oil field in Texas in 1972. According to the International Energy Agency, more than 30 million tons of CO2 is captured from large-scale carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration facilities every year, with over 70% of it being done here in North America. Once you have captured carbon, you have two choices. You can sequester it in the ground, or it can be sold to other industries for alternative uses, which is the utilization part of the CCUS. Due to the sheer quantity of CO2, the world cannot use enough of it and must look to sequestration. So why Louisiana? Because Louisiana's geology is perfect for it. With the interactions of the rivers in the Gulf of America, over the years, they have produced thick sand layers. With the river's movement back and forth, these layers become covered with shale. The shale is impermeable, not allowing anything to move up or down. This allows things in the sand layers from 20,000 feet all the way up to the surface to become trapped. This layer cake approach makes Louisiana's geology perfect for trapping CO2, just like it is perfect for trapping oil and gas that Louisiana's economy has been dependent on since it was first discovered in Louisiana in 1901 in a rice field in the Mamou Prairie in the community of Evangeline near Jennings. Did you know that Louisiana is the #1 producer of hydrogen? Hydrogen that produces ammonia, that is a component part for fertilizer, that is shipped throughout the United States and the world. Louisiana is the #1 producer of liquefied natural gas that is shipped throughout the world. Louisiana is the #2 refining capacity and fuel production that is shipped all over the USA and the world. Louisiana is the #2 producer of ethylene that is used in everything from your washing powder to your tennis shoes, and that is also shipped throughout the United States and the world. These customers who use these fundamental molecules that are produced by Louisiana citizens are demanding low carbon and carbon-free products. If these products are not made here by Louisiana, they will be made somewhere else, starving Louisiana of its traditional industrial base. ExxonMobil's Hummingbird and Mockingbird projects go a long way in supporting the competitive edge for Louisiana, while boosting the economy of Allen Parish and the state of Louisiana. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is David Siki.
Here is my full statement for the record.
Good evening. Thanks so much for being a gracious host. From what I understand, you're here by mandate, correct? Per a requirement. But I'm here. I'm very honored to be here at the request of our tribal membership, especially a large group of our tribal elders. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight, all of them. But I do have one. I want to recognize one of my elders, Miss Darlene Donahue, for making the time. She could be at home, probably prepared to go to bed and get ready for the next day. But thank you so much for your interest in this matter. But my name is David Siki. I know some of you here. I have been around Louisiana for all my life. I'm actually a former official for the Coshawta tribe of Louisiana. I spent 18 consecutive years as an elected official for my tribe. So I know a thing or two about economic development, workforce development, revenue generation, sustainability issues. I do not need a lecture tonight about that. The Coshawtas know a thing or two about that. In fact, before the COVID shutdown, right around 2021 era, 2020 era, prior to the COVID shutdown, the Coshawtas employed 2,300 people under payroll. Our total workforce came from 18 Louisiana parishes, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a tribe that numbers less than 1,000 people. Right here, 8 miles from here, probably. And so, my late father Ernest was responsible for federal re-recognition in 1973. And in June, we'll be celebrating 52 years of official re-recognition. But my hope and prayer, and I hope you share the same feeling, is that I hope that my tribal people live to see 75 years of prosperity. And my hope and prayer is that they'll live to see 100 years of tribal prosperity. And guess what? I don't need a lecture about what a good neighbor is. The Coshawtas have been good neighbors throughout the course of our history since first contact with the Europeans in 1540, for thousands of years. We know what a good neighbor is. We know what it means to collaborate. We know what it means to work together collaboratively, but also transparently. I'm all about economic development, ladies and gentlemen. I want to create more jobs. I want our tribe to diversify beyond gaming, using those resources from gaming. And I want to continue making investments here in Allen Parish. And just to be clear, I am not speaking for the current 3-member government of the Coshawtas. I'm a former official, as I said earlier. But the fact is, we have to do this with total transparency. Have you met with the tribal membership? In fact, I would urge you, I'm not even a paid consultant. I would urge you and give you this free advice. The tribal members are demanding and wanting their own town hall and forum. Unfortunately, those voices couldn't be here, but they asked me to speak for them, and I'm very honored and happy to do that. I don't want to end up like the Navajos. They're wonderful Navajo people. 80 years later, the Navajos are still cleaning up from uranium mining. They're dying from cancer. Their water is contaminated. Those wonderful Navajo people are so resilient that they're beyond all of those challenges. I don't want my tribe to end up like the Navajos. And that was a government-funded program. That was a government-funded program. So again, the point I'm trying to make is that there's 960 members in Elton, Louisiana, 8 miles from here, hoping and praying that you do the right thing. Let's do this in full transparency. If you believe in ethics, which I saw on your website on the car right here, you adhere to the higher standards of business excellence and ethics. I even screenshotted it. Please, I hope you really believe that and abide by that. Because again, there's only a small number of us, 960 members of this tribe. We cannot afford to have any risk creep into our life. Our lives depending on your honesty and your transparency. That is what I'm encouraging everyone. I don't have any plans to leave Louisiana. I don't have any plans to leave Allen Parish. But again, my hope, my prayer, is that not to be paralyzed by our history, but to be informed by our history. Because I believe, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, in summary, I believe that the Coshada people, the Native Americans, who withstood the test of time, warfare, disease, encroachment, failed policies of termination and extermination and forced removal, I believe that the Native Americans have their duty and the drive and the tenacity to preserve, protect, and save planet Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is it Diane James.
I just wanted to voice my opinion that I think everyone in Allen Parish should be able to vote on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Patrick Kirsch.
Really? Well, I'm fairly new to Allen Parish. I've lived here for the last 6 years, I believe. I come from a small community called Roberts Cove, Louisiana. Within that community, there's a small area that's called Humble City. Humble was the parent company, if I'm correct, of Exxon. My address is 3829 Roberts Cove Road, right in the middle of the old Humble City. One of the first wells in the state of Louisiana was drilled there by Humble. Right now, I believe the last well was drilled back in the mid-70s to the early 80s. Right now, we're doing test wells, small test wells, to check for soil, chemicals in the soil and whatnot. But anyway, Humble at the time left it a mess. They did come in and clean up some things and just put a Band-Aid on it, really. But anyway, I get to thinking, you know, back to my science classes back in elementary school and back in junior high and stuff. And, you know, one of the things that we learned in science class, that the core of the earth builds natural pressures, okay? And the good Lord has put natural relief valves, which are called volcanoes, okay? And I keep going back to this picture I've seen in my science book back then, and it was this little Mexican farmer that was plowing in his field, and all of a sudden a volcano erupts. Are we gonna have to worry about something like that happening? Because we putting more pressure and pressure on the core of our earth. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Linda Langley.
Thank you. It was my great pleasure and honor to go to Baton Rouge yesterday, where I was appalled by the way we were treated. I'm not native to Louisiana. My accent doesn't give me away until I say a few words, but I've been here 40 years. My late husband is a member of the Coushatta tribe, Burtney Langley. And when I was asked to join the CO2 Alliance, it was because Burtney would have stood up always for all the people. He remembers what it was like growing up when the tribe had nothing, when the minorities, the darkest chapters of Louisiana's history, we saw it repeated yesterday. It was horrifying. Our right to vote taken away. And much of this would be solved if you would situate the wells. Give us the right to vote. It's wanted some places and not wanted others. That's local option. But I want to say this about when Al Gore said something is a scam and it's not green, it's time to quit calling this a green project. This is all about the money, the 45Q tax credit, and we saw big money mock us yesterday, insult our children, belittle us in the hallways, and tell us we are not only inferior, but unable, uneducated, worse than ankle biters. And that's not the Louisiana I have come to know and love in 40 years. I've read the studies, I've seen the possible risks, but even beyond that, I want to say one thing. Most people don't know this about me, but I'm actually the child of a Holocaust survivor. My grandfather was a very prominent physician, well loved in the community in Austria, and one day he woke up and the laws had been changed, and we have his paperwork. It was stamped with his crime of being the wrong person in the wrong place at that time, and his property was taken away in a single day. Every right, he was imprisoned, and by the grace of God, he got out and got my mother and my grandmother out from that horror show that happens, that begins with the loss of the right to vote and the right to exist. Call it economic development, but we know that money's not coming in our parish. The poison is, and the after effects of being denied our basic constitutional rights. There is no gloss you can put on that that's worth it. And I said this yesterday, my grandchild is a member of the Coushatta tribe. He goes to that school on the reservation, and you cannot convince me that anyone can get to him in time to save his life, as you said. And I will say this about the CO2 Alliance, that when we began asking questions, we said, where's the seismic data? And within 2 weeks, they came out asking to do seismic studies. They planned this without even investigating what we have here. So I would urge you to consider our voice. If you're the only people in Baton Rouge that do, hear us and vote this down. We don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joe Manuel.
HB 78. 1978, looking at me like, you know what I'm saying? It's coming. Wrong guy. So, what I'm gonna say is 8,000 gallons, you might want to drink it.
Right?
You don't know. 8,000 gallons of diesel, 1.2 million to clean up without environmental impact. Mr. Carr, what's your name, sir? You writing.
I don't think he's here right
You made a statement earlier that this parish is gonna make tens of millions of dollars. You are a speaking representative of Exxon on the record saying this parish is gonna make tens of millions of dollars. On the record, you stated as a spokesperson for Exxon, tens of millions of dollars. So I expect this parish to make tens of millions of dollars because you made that promise on the record in front of DNR. You made that record, did you not? And you can guarantee this parish tens of millions of dollars on the record. I'll give you mine.
Sir, please.
I'm being right because it's on the record. The reason I'm bringing this up is because DeWitt Carrier pushed with everybody else because they were promised money for this parish by Exxon, by John, which no longer works for y'all, by the way. He moved on.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he don't work for them no more. Money that they was gonna give this parish, tens of millions of dollars. That we're not getting. But I want it to be known in a public record that this man representing Exxon, the spokesperson for Exxon, guarantees Allen Parish tens of millions of dollars. You're on the record. Now, DNR. I know when y'all look at a bill, if anyone is giving false information off of a company, that reflects towards that bill. You can't have trust in that company. So I'm asking you to defer this bill, this permit, until they clarify his statement. Because he is misleading. He is misleading the parish, which is what they did to DeWitt and the rest of them. That's what they did. They promised money. That's the only reason, and job, but let me tell y'all about the job. So let me tell you how a well works. There's a thing called a PLC system. It's called a ladder logic. I work on it. That, you can take 10 wells with PLC systems. You know what I'm talking about. I can put a person in Mississippi communicate with all 10 wells. You know what I'm talking about. I know PLC systems. I can run a city on a PLC system. Hell, they do houses with them now. 1 or 2 jobs. Wow. Tens of millions of dollars. I'm saying it again. You guaranteed it in a public forum. Tens of millions of dollars. And I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to hold DNR accountable to justify your statement. I'm done.
Mr. Rhodes? You're the last one. That I know.
Oh, it will be.
Look, folks, I want to say to all the guests that come in and out of the parish tonight, that it normally wouldn't be like this. We're really friendly, good people.
Right.
But this is our home. You know, it's something for us to be very concerned about. And what's so crazy, we really are oil and gas people. A lot of our people work in oil and gas. We believe in the old and gas, oil and gas is it's been in our state for a long, long time. We don't believe in this. But here we find that Exxon brings all these gas here. And everybody gets up here and gets on the public record that don't even live here and say, y'all please give a permit to Allen Parish. And what I know it's the way it's done, but let me tell you this. I would like to just be on the record. I know there's several people who hadn't spoke, but would you stand if you would like to see these permits not given to Exxon? I don't see a guest that's standing, but I see most of our local people standing. And you know, the thing is this, you can sit down. I'm just trying to say, look, if these guys are gonna come in on Parish, and look, I do like Patrick out of all of y'all. I do. Patrick takes a lot of you. It's a tough job, Patrick. But, look, we're not bad people, but we mad. And we worried. And this is our home. That's being, they say neighbors, but they really like intruders.
Right.
And that makes a difference. That makes a difference. Just like this, Jeff, in front of everybody tonight, the pipeline guy. I trust oil and gas. I do. I do. Ain't that we hate y'all, we don't. But we have a pipeline that's in the south end of the parish right now. 11-year-old pipeline. That was Denbury Line. It's got serious problems. It's got serious corrosion problems. Can anybody not deny that? You'll deny it? Oh, has it had any leaks? Has it got corrosion issues?
Wow.
Well, I think we need to make sure that what he said, there's no problems on that line that's already in the south end of our parish, and we'll make sure that's on testimony. But what we're trying to do is protect our communities. And you outsiders that come in here, getting on the public record and forcing this on us, it's just really wrong. So I sit and come across the table. You bring all these people. Yesterday, it'll take them 3 days to fly all them people back and all them lobbies. But anyway, look, I want to say this. If it wouldn't be for this, we'd be friends. We'd be Louisiana. We'd be friends. But we're not friends. We're not going to be for a while. And I appreciate y'all being patient. I want you to know that. This is tough for everybody, okay? We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all for giving them extra minutes and our people, especially our people. Because we haven't really had a chance in an open setting like this to really let everybody know our concern. And let me tell you, there's 3 or 4, I think, in Allen Parish so far, thus far this. But I promise you, the majority of the people of Allen Parish, Vernon Parish, Beauregard Parish, and Jeff Davis Parish don't want this in our homes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments or to provide further comments? Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments? Can you please fill out a blue card? Or you can do it after your speech.
State your name. My name is Howard Maddox. I'm a local business owner and a firefighter and first responder. Okay. So this injection well is east of the Wiskachita. I own and operate Wiskachita Canoe Rental. Suppose we had a catastrophic event happen to a pipeline, which the kill zone is 1 mile wide. If we sustain a east wind going across the creek, everybody knows CO2 is heavier than air and it goes to the lower parts. What we're gonna do, how are we gonna get these people off the creek? Something to think about. Any given Saturday, I have 130 canoes, 22 kayaks. That's a lot of folks out there. That's a lot of folks. It's gonna be rough if we have it. 1 mile wide kill zone. Kill zone, you dead. You in that 1 mile, you dead. Bottom line. Our fire department, 1989 Mack Cabover, one of our primary trucks. How we have no equipment. And we run the fire department with bubble gum, duct tape, and tie wire. That's what we got. And it's just not good. We don't have the facilities, the equipment to handle any catastrophic event that may happen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you'd like to, are there any more persons who wish to provide a comment? Or are there any more persons that wish to provide comments?
Yeah.
Okay, please state your name, and afterwards, please come fill out a blue card.
Yeah, okay. I'm a member of Parish, so I'm just basically stating, concerns that I've heard throughout, the meetings that I've covered. And talking with the various engineers and scientists and, the research I've done just to write articles on this stuff. And one of the strange things is kind of the contradictory way the process has worked, because it's supposed to be about, you know, lowering our carbon footprint, but yet all of it's concentrated in Louisiana, so it's not like the whole country is taking on the same responsibility that our state seems to be taking on, because it's become more of an industry. It's become more about money than it is about lowering our carbon footprint. And one of the other concerning things, speaking with the risk assessment team and Oxy's engineer, was that the amount of wells proposed in Louisiana is unprecedented in the entire world, which means the amount of CO2 that's being proposed in Louisiana is unprecedented underneath a highly populated area with, you know, serious risk to livelihood if it gets into water. Then you have the other issue of what makes Louisiana so desirable for this industry that has not a single example tested. We haven't a single permit or a single well that we can point to say that this works. That's scary for us. That's scary for, you know, people telling us that it's all safe. Well, it's not tested. You have class 2 wells. Well, class 2 well risk is not the same as class 6 well risk. Not only that, but you're adding 100 wells that are being pursued and billions of tons, and we don't have a single example to point to. Sorry. And then not only that, but the formations, the underground formations that are so desirable are porous, meaning that increases the unpredictability of a mobile and buoyant element of CO2. So all that, and then you take saturation from all of these projects overlapping, and the pressure, the unknown, unpredictable, you know, reactions that could happen. None of it's tested, and it's all over a it's all underneath a highly populated area. And then all it takes is, you know, one instant of these plumes finding a fissure or a well, or God forbid, you know, you have shifts underground that cause, you know, cracks that it could come through, and then we have so much buried. They're literally called tombs of CO2. Why does it all have to be in Louisiana? Why can't we spread it out if it's so globally responsible? It's because of money. And so the process of taking our rights, our property rights, and then devaluing where we live with infrastructure. What about zoning? Industrial zoning and agricultural land. None of it makes any sense. Not to mention that, you know, you guys follow the EPA and don't share any of the information of what's really going on. The scientists that are doing risk assessments don't have access to the details of the project. Oxy won't even say where their source of CO2 is going to come from because they don't want anybody to know that they're going to be putting CO2 pipelines all through our parishes. So they come in and they say, oh, it's going to be an economic boom for 1 year. It's going to be an economic boom. Well, what's the economic fallout when you have all these businesses with all this demand and they start expanding or improving and blah, 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 their infrastructure, and then it's gone. They're worse off because probably going to go bankrupt because they've started financing all this stuff. So there's a lot of issues that aren't being addressed. I mean, all of us, yes, we're afraid of our livelihood, but there's a lot of concern about just the sheer volume that's being proposed in Louisiana and the uncertainty and unpredictability of this particular element of CO2 that, billions and billions, we don't even have a single example. We don't have a single well tested. And I feel like legislators should slow this process down and test something where it wants to be tested before you put it into parishes that don't want it. And anyway, that's just concerns that I have seen and that people have been talking to me about, so I just want to share those.
Thank you. Next, can you please fill out the blue card right there? What is your name? Next speaker is Deanna Weldon.
Hi, I have a real short, I just want to say that my name is Deanna Weldon. I'm from the Fairview area here in Allen Parish, and my family has lived in Allen Parish for generations. And I'm worried. I'm scared of what's going to happen to our water, what's going to happen with our land. That for a lot of us have land that has been through generations that's been worked for. And I just want it on record that I'm against this, and I pray that you guys do the right thing for us in Allen Parish.
Thank you. Next speaker is Aquila Victoria.
I have a lot of concern about the CO2, and a lot of people have addressed it. But I want to leave y'all with these thoughts. Some of these pipelines will be 500 feet from our children in school. Depending on the size of the pipeline, they have a rupture. Who is going to be there? And if y'all do supply oxygen tanks and masks for the kids, who's going to be there to assist these children? Some schools have special need kids. How are you going to line these kids up and help them put masks in an oxygen tank to help them breathe with a pipeline 500 feet from the school? That's one of my concerns, okay? Besides the other thing. And then I want you to picture this scenario. We have professional people here. Not everybody die when they have a breach. Some of them have long-term medical issues. Sometimes the memory, the brains, and they cannot function in their jobs. Who is going to be responsible for their medical issues and taking care of them? When the parent can't work because they have a medical issue because of CO2. History have a way of repeating itself. Look what happened in Mississippi. I don't care if it was a landslide, it happened. And it's not if, it's when. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more persons who wish to provide a comment? sure to state your name, please.
My name's Eddie King. I live in Reeves. I wanna know on this deal there, my comment is, we had a lot of talk from the outsiders and everything else, gas companies, and their representatives behind them and everything. Let's put one of these wells in their backyard and see if they get mad and do like we do. Which I'll tell you right now, they won't do it, they get mad, just like everybody in here is gonna do. So, what's the deal? I can see that representative right there from ExxonMobil with a well dug in his backyard. He'll like that. This man right here, he'll like it. So let's put one of these wells in their backyard and see what we can do with that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Please state your name.
My name is Kate. Please don't put this in my backyard.
Thank you. Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments? Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments? Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments?
My name is Uriah Shirley, and one thing that not a lot of people said is that oil has been here since God made it, and you can have the science behind it to say that. But carbon that you're going to put in the oil, that you're going to pressure down there, that's going to erupt, that it has a science behind it, that it could make earthquakes and all that. So you want to erupt it instead of, basically what I'm saying is, it's more of a chance of breaking because it's more, trying to put this fair way, but you're going to have a higher percent of the rocks breaking because the oil had no pressure to it, but the carbon's going to have pressure and it's just fair. So, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments?
My name is Ezekiel Shirley, and God made the earth perfect, so why just mess it up like that? It was perfect, and so when you put so much pressure in the earth, it's going to, like my chop said, my brother, and it's going to put pressure, and it's going to cross around the whole world. And thank you, that's all I've got to say. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Are there any more persons who would like to offer a comment? Please state your name.
Dylan Weldon.
Make sure you fill out the blue card when you finish.
I will. I also like these folks coming and telling us dumb rednecks what CO2 is. We appreciate that. You know, most of us, we come from poor folks as fellas in poverty. I guess that's true from way back in the day. A lot of our people were exiled here and sent here and lived with the native folks. And our ancestors saw that history unfold. People like this come down and with the government and money and telling them where they needed to go, and now they're telling us what we need to do with our land. Telling us what's best for our environment that we've lived in for generations. I think we know what's best for our environment because we live in it. And I just want to say that, so thank y'all.
Thank you for your comment. Blue cards are right there. Thank you. Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments? Are there any more persons who wish to provide comments? Are there any more persons wishing to provide comments? As it appears that no further speakers wish to provide comments, I will proceed to adjourn this hearing. I would like to thank everyone for attending and participating. Again, the public comment period will end on tomorrow, Thursday, May 1st, 2025, at 4:30 p.m. Accordingly, the hearing for docket number IMD 2025-02 and IMD 2025-03 is hereby adjourned. Thank you all.